So one thing that I made up by myself within my studies is my own mnemonic for the general purpose of psychology, and that is Depth C. Hello, welcome, and welcome back. My name is Monique, and I am a pre-nursing student over the age of 30. And today I'm going to be telling you all about my third semester recap. All right, so for my third semester, I chose to take two classes. I took an elective class and I chose music. This can be called Intro to Music, General Music, music theory, just something with an overall umbrella of music throughout the centuries. And then I also chose to take psychology. Again, this could be called, general psychology or intro to psychology. Depending on where you go, it may be, called different things. But again, under that big umbrella of your basic study of psychology and what it entails of. Okay, so we'll start off with my grade, the different things I suggest as far as the course load, and where I would suggest taking this within your, time span of pre-nursing school. Because these are questions that I had about the class, and the point of these videos is to help you, in your pre-nursing journey and to answer some of the questions that I even had myself. So the biggest question that I had about music was, what's it going to be like? And the reason that I asked that question to myself was because this is something that I took online. And that being the case, I wanted to know, like, how do you learn about what you already enjoy, right? I enjoy music. So essentially, you get down to the definitions, you get down to the tones, you get down to the different mechanisms that go along with music. And music is beautiful. It is something that is not just sound, but it is, particular sounds put into an order for us as the listener to enjoy. And that's what I really love about music is that, that really, that intentional arrangement of sound, right? And that intentional arrangement, it really does appeal to different cultures depending on what you grew up listening to. And so I was happy to really be exposed to classical music, which I have been before, but really to be exposed to it on a deeper level. Then also, different types of genres and even composers, even from Europe and here in America. So it was nice. It was a nice history study for me, and I really enjoyed it. As far as the grade I made an A, and I also thought the course load was reasonable. It was a very easy class to me. I feel like you don't have to stress about this. Just know that, when you're talking about music, it's very opinion based. So I don't think you should stress about the class. I think you should enjoy the class and just know that it will be one of your easier classes. It is an elective that I chose. I had the choice between many electives, but in this particular time period, it was between art and music for me. And for me, although I am an artist, I do like different types of artistry. I feel like I like music even more. And so I thought that I would just really ace this class and really enjoy it along the way. And I was right. So it does, include writing. So I enjoyed writing, sharing my opinion. And overall, I would have to say that the assignments, in my opinion, were more like on a survey base. So that's how I would describe it. If you're kind of wondering, like, what does a music class entail of, right? Well, music, that's the first thing, listening to it, and then really analyzing it and really, telling your story about why you like it and or why you don't like it, and what appeals to you the most. So I encourage you guys to, think about these electives and think about how they will play into your clinical setting. I know for me, music can be used in a clinical setting, as a nurse, as a provider, even someone just taking care of your friends and family. Sometimes if someone is feeling, kind of low, you can, play some upbeat tempo music. Or if someone is feeling, really agitated, you can actually calm them down with something that is more subtle. And so music does have a place in the clinical setting as well. And in the setting of basically, feeling well overall. So it can help to calm the mind or help to excite the mind. Okay. So that is music. All right. So if you're wondering, will you have to write? Yes. Is it easy? Yes. Will you make an A? Probably. And you can probably put this course onto a load of other courses. Like if you are having to take 3 other classes and you're trying to figure out, can music be put into that? It probably can, because it's going to be more of your easygoing classes. And the next class is going to be psychology. I enjoy this class as well. I'll start off by saying that I did make an A in this class. This class to me, it was a moderate pace, a moderate workload. I'm not going to say easy because you do have to critically think and you do have to really use the psychological termination that you're learning. You really have to, learn how to observe and study behavior and explain it back, right? So, one thing that I made up by myself within my studies is my own mnemonic for the general purpose of psychology, and that is depth C. And so that is to describe, to explain, to predict, and control. And this is, generally speaking, the primary goal of a psychologist, right? And so these four things, as far as describing something, explaining something, predicting, and controlling, can be used in a clinical setting as well. When I'm taking these classes, they may not seem like they are, nurse focused, but actually they are. And I usually take away something I could use in a clinical setting. And so for me, the way I could use this in a clinical setting is I could, look at what my patient is presenting, right? Describing what my patient is presenting, explaining that back to the physician or another colleague, and then predicting some interventions that may help this patient with this issue that they're having. And then also controlling that physical ailment by means of different modalities, whether that's going to be medication or going to be some type of therapy. In particular, in talking about psychology, that's what we're talking about, right? If you are working on a, mental wellness floor and someone is having a mental illness, this could definitely be used in that sense too, as far as describing what you're seeing and again explaining and then predicting, and then using a mixture of treatments available to really help control what's going on so they can actually function every day without having this mental illness be the big elephant in the room, right? And so all these things can be used clinically, whether it's going to be for psychology purposes, psychiatric purposes. So something like diabetes, maybe high blood pressure, again, you're kind of seeing how they present to you and then really seeing what interventions can work and then really controlling that blood pressure or that diabetes with the proper treatments. Okay. So hopefully you can follow that train of thought, but that's how I think about these classes. Sometimes I don't only think about them as what they are. I try to really inculcate them into the clinical setting. So as far as the workload, again, okay, writing, yes, a lot of writing. You can go ahead and assume that any class you're taking at this point, especially in pre-nursing, is going to include writing for good reason. One of the things as a nurse, when you become a nurse, registered nurse, is that you will be writing. You will be charting. That thing called charting is very important. And so I think it's really good that all of these classes really include some writing component because it's going to be a part of your career. And so it will never stop. No matter what you decide to go into, you always have to do some type of charting for yourself to protect yourself, protect your license. And so I think it's good to be really in tune with the writing and growing your vocabulary and, learning how to explain things. And also psychology gave me a great opportunity to really write in a way that is objective versus subjective. So if you know what that means, objective is writing what I see, writing what the patient presents and nothing more. Not my opinion, not assuming or anything like that. Subjective is when I start to inject my own opinions, right? And so I feel like psychology helped with that because there were so many assignments that I had to really just focus on what is there. This is what I'm giving you. This is what I need you to focus on, right? So not making up other things, just really focusing on solving this particular problem. So yes, that is something that I enjoyed about psychology. And one of the things I really enjoyed about the most was learning about the sleep cycle. So hopefully when you take this class, you will also enjoy that as well. There are many other things within the course that I look forward to you learning when you take it. And I'm sure that you'll be able to use what you learned for yourself, for your family, and definitely in the clinical setting. And as far as how to study while being in music and or psychology, I found the studying process to be very simple. That really depends on your professor. So really take advantage of any extra credit. If they give you test reviews, do them. If they give you practice tests, do them because they will benefit you. And really pay attention to the PowerPoint slides if you get them. And just, know that any type of biology class or psychology class is probably going to have lecture exams. So in my opinion, lecture exams are the hardest of the parts of the course, but at the same time, it is possible for you to pass them. And I actually passed all of mine, and that was because I did what I was supposed to do. I did the work, right? So a lot of the writing is going to help you to really commit the information to memory, and then the studying a little bit of extra studying. It's going to help you to really get your definitions down packed for your lecture exam. But make sure if they do give you extra credit, excuse me, that you go ahead and take that extra credit to make up for any, exam grades that maybe you were not so happy with. Okay. But it is very possible to get B's, B as in boy, on all of your exams and still end up with an A. I actually got B's on every exam except for one. So I got one A, probably a few other B's or whatever, and I was still able to come out with the A because I was able to do all of the other coursework with an A. So really learn your strengths and your weaknesses. And not to say that testing is a weakness of mine, because it is not, but there were some things that I was more interested in learning than others. And because of that, I just knew that I was going to make a B versus an A on some of the lecture exams. So, it doesn't mean that you're weak in testing, it just means that you want to focus on certain things in certain areas, and that's fine. But also be sure that you're also, really acing everything else around those exams, and really make sure that you understand the percentage of the grade that is dedicated to the exams. So really study that syllabus. Okay. So those are my suggestions that I want to throw in there too before ending the video. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And if you also took these classes, let me know, what grade you made, how you enjoyed it, what you enjoyed about it. And I look forward to making other videos as recaps to let you guys know how the semesters are going. However, the pre-nursing school is, time consuming, and it does take up a lot of your brain space. And so therefore, it's nice to have this at the end of the semester to kind of do like a recap and share it with you guys. Next up, I'm going into my fourth semester, and I'm excited about sharing that with you all as well when that finishes up. So I hope you guys have a peaceful and productive rest of your day, and I will talk to you on the next upload.